Now, despite the inclement weather, today is a good day. What arrived is the insulation for the ceiling, at last. Okay, so we'll get straight on with this. This is the stuff which has arrived. That's 1 metre wide. It's about 35mm, 40mm thick, and hopefully there's plenty of it. We're going to do these side panels first, and then we're going to do the ceiling. Now, the procedure for this is exactly the same as this. We're just going to cut it to size, put a little bit of spray adhesive on it, and then stick it on the walls. And after that, we'll look at the vapour barrier. Now again, vapour barriers can be a contentious issue in van building activities, but we'll have an idea for that, so we'll get into that once we've got this insulation on. We're flying along with the insulation here. We've got the panels done, got most of the ceiling done. But just a point on this stuff, I wanted to show you how I'm cutting this. I found it's a little bit easier to cut than the thicker material, but there is a process to it which makes it a little bit easier. I'll just put the camera down. I've marked out where I want it cut, and I have this piece of wood and somewhere Stanley knife. There it is. And what I've found is, if you compress this down with the wood, and if you've got a really sharp Stanley knife blade, that will cut. Right the way through. But I think the trick is to compress it. That being done, it cuts fairly easily. So anyhow, this is the last piece of the roof insulation to go on, back doors to do, and then we're on to the next job. Just to discuss the vapour barrier a little, and I'll show you what I've gotten. It's a vapour barrier, a polythene vapour barrier from Wix, 2.5 metres by 20 metres, and it's a 125 micron. That should be perfect, really, as a vapour barrier. The purpose of a vapour barrier, as far as I understand, is to stop vapour from getting from the inside of the van through into the wall cavities where the insulation and everything is. So long as any area where vapour could possibly get in is covered by something like a vapour barrier, or even the silver tape. You see over the little screw holes and holes which are in the pillars, I'm saying if you put some silver tape over that, no need to put the polythene really right over the pillars and everything, because the pillars themselves will not allow vapour to get through. It's only the holes in them which would do that. So the plan is to put this stuff on the ceiling right the way through the van, to tape up any of the small holes in the pillars, and then to put this over the panels. So to start with this vapour barrier, just this channel here where I put the foam, and put little pieces of tape, little pieces of silver tape over all the holes there, and then we're going to take the vapour barrier here and tape it to this pillar. I will do the same on the other side, and I think we'll just staple it onto these wooden battens, and that should be good. But wherever the light comes through will be a hole, obviously, so we'll tape back up round there as well, nice and tight round those wires, so that the vapour barrier is doing its job and doesn't have any holes in it or punctures where vapour could get through. So the first thing is to silver tape these holes and little voids in that top rail, and similarly on the other side, and then we'll unfurl the barrier. Okay, so that's that first line done. Now I'll just do the same on this other side. I've cut a piece of this, the vapour barrier itself, the full length of the van. In fact, I've overcut it. I've cut it to just over 3 metres, and the thing is 2 metres wide, so it's going to be an overhang on either side. The idea is to staple it down the middle first, and then outwards towards the side of the van, trim it, and then put the silver tape on. That's the plan. Now, this is a single-handed job, so for the majority of this time I think I'll be underneath this plastic sheet. it's good. I think it's good the rock and roll bed's still in here, so I can drape it over the back of that, and that may give us a little bit of height on it. Let's try that and see how it works. I want the centre of the barrier, which I believe is this line here. I'll just mark that so I don't lose it. I think that's the centre line. We shall soon find out. Now, I'm going to keep this. And the idea would be to get underneath here, pull it over my head, and staple it to this front batten. I have my staple gun. Oh, the wind's coming. It's blown that up like a parachute behind me. I should close the back doors. I'll close the back doors. Now let's cut the light down a bit. But looks like it's going to be a job of compromises. Can you see this? Okay. Pull this along. Let's stick a staple out to hold it for now. Not so bad. Now, the idea would be to work down the van, pushing it up, pulling it tight, keeping this line fairly central, and stapling it on. So, here we go. Difficult to get hold of. So pull tight. There we go. I think what I'll do is I'll get the next one on, then I'll pull the bed forwards to give myself access to the back. I'm waiting for somebody to give me a lift with this bed. I believe it's 58 kilograms. And I can't really get it out the back by myself. I was thinking I could put a ramp up and maybe slide it down the ramp, but I'll wait until somebody shows up in the back lane and I'll just get them to give me a hand with it. Okay, now up to the back door here, just there. So I'm going to staple that round and then we'll trim it and tape it up. There it is, a continuous vapour barrier. Now to cut this in, I'm going to end up shrink wrapped here or not. What I'm going to do is I'll do this back line first. And it's not so crucial about the back line for the taping because the carpet is going to go all the way around here to there. This line is more crucial. There are two ribs here, if you can see them, and the ceiling is going to finish about here, and that will be carpeted up there. So we don't want to tape this here, we want to tape it to this one, and that'll just be a matter of marking that out when we get round to it. But I think I'll do the back first because the wind keeps blowing under this and making it a little bit, it's flapping around all over the place actually. So the first thing to do is this back line, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to mark it off with a pen, and then I'll probably cut it with a pair of scissors. I think the scissors will be more accurate. The knife would cut it, but it may slide off. So this is the way we're going to go. I'm going to say that's here, and here, and here. Now we'll cut this down actually, down there, to give ourselves a little bit of working space. And we're going to cut that there, and there. as we get on with that, the sun has decided to come back out. This is good. But we do live just, the sea's just a quarter of a mile that way. And you get a very cold north wind coming up this back lane. But the weather is on the change. Spring is upon us. This will soon be settled down and it'll be really nice. So let's get this tape on this back and then start tackling the sides. Okay, I think we've got that back line. That's all looking good. Now the sides, similar thing. First we want to mark it really along this side. Here comes the wind again. So I'm going to use this piece of cladding and the marker pen, and this will give about where it's going, not exactly but about. So I'm just going to push that on there up to the side, make some marks along here, and that will be my cutting line for that. Alright, now that being cut to more or less the right position, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put some little holding pieces of tape on first, and when it's all held in place nicely, then we'll do the continuous line right the way through. Looking good. And do the same with the other side. That's that other side line done. So to finish that off, we've just got that top piece where it leads into the cab. I've taken the trim clips off and I'm just going to tape that underneath there and then put the trim clips back on. And that should be the vapour barrier on the ceiling entirely sealed. Okay, so that being that, all done. I know a lot of people use that silver-backed bubble wrap as a vapour barrier, and I'm sure that that would be an equally good vapour barrier, but the insulation quality of it, the bubble wrap itself, is not going to really make much difference to the van, and this material here is a vapour wrap, vapour barrier, sorry. But before we do the rest of the vapour barrier on the van, what we've got to do is put some battens in around some of the panels, and we'll put the vapour barrier over the top of those. So it's the battens first. Now these are the panels we're going to do first, and as I say, I want to put a strip of wood along here with a straight face on it so that I can put a recessed or inset panel in here. But we need to know what the angle of that is, so I have an angle finder. This is going to help us to see the slope on that. If we put that there and then put that more or less straight up, if we cut the wood to this shape, then the face of it will be square. It's different for all of them. It would be, but that's okay. This is the bottom one, that looks about right there, and the side one is more or less the same. So I think just the top one looks like it's a slightly different angle. Put that there. Right, so we've got this, this, this and this at that angle, and we've got the top one and a slightly different one. So we'll do these first. We're doing two sets of these there. I think both sides are exactly the same. Okay, so we've got our various pieces here for this. We've got this one for the bottom, we've got one for the side, there's two for the other side, and this one for the top, as I say, which is going to be slightly different. Now, just to show you what we're doing here, this is the wood and that's the angle. So if we mark that on there, we want to take that off, and then when we sit the wood on the rib, the beam, the bar, whatever, the face of it will be flat, and we can screw the panel onto there. I'll do that with all of these, and then I think the best way to get these off is going to be on the bandsaw and then the sander. So yes, the bandsaw is the saw which took this off. I've taken that down there, a little bit raggy, the blade isn't as sharp as it could be, but that's okay. We'll be able to sand them up on here later, and this should all work out just fine. Okay, with those all cut, again I've taken a different angle for the top one, and I've cut that. I'm just going to clean them up on the sander, then we'll go and see if they fit, screw them into the van. The idea is to get these in here. Now, there's a couple of considerations. First of all, this wire, we're going to have to notch out for that wire for this top one, or I may indeed just cut that into 2 sections. And we want to try to get an equidistant around here so that the panel sits flat. And just looking at this side, it's very shallow at this side. So I think what we'll have to do is maybe shave a little bit more off here so that that sits in and we'll get a good flat finish to the panel. Okay, so I've got this first piece, I've got a screw in there. And what I want to do is just make sure it's equidistant all the way along and all the way around. And then the cladding is going to sit on it like that. So this will be carpeted in, this piece here. And then this side will be clad the same as the ceiling to fit into that panel, and that'll be the same with that panel and the back doors. So I'm just going to get on with that and see if I can get all of these in, and that'll be it. Okay, I've got them on, secure in with the screws. Just a point, this would have been much easier to do without the insulation. To do it before putting the insulation on would be the way to go. But it's done, there it is. I may put one up the middle here just to support the cladding as it goes on, and I may put something across here just to take the reading light, or the cladding itself may take that. It's a very small light, but this is looking okay. We're recessed in there. When the cladding sits on that like so, it'll be flat faced and it'll just give it that little bit of recess coming in. A little bit of decoration, really. That's both of them done. I have put a central batten in here as well. This is just to stop the cladding from flapping around, and I've done similar here. Now I thought I was going to get on with the carpeting, but then I remembered Vapour Barrier for this bottom section and for these panels. So that's the thing we're going to get on with right now. We're going to get these all sealed up, and then we'll do the carpeting. Now, looking at this to put the Vapour Barrier on and eventually the carpet, there's just a few little things to take care of. And there's these where screws have been in the past, and some are facing outwards. So I'm just going to file these down, and then similarly I'm going to go over any of these holes with the silver tape. This polythene is going to be the same procedure as we did for the ceiling. I'm just going to tack it on first in a few places. Make sure I've got enough over that edge. That's good. So down to there. Alright, so much Vapour Barrier later, I think we have the entirety of the van with a Vapour Barrier. Back doors are done. I put battens under here to take this panel, and everything is sealed up and ready to go. Now, I was thinking a little while ago that I would be able to get on with the stretch carpeting, but there's always a but. These panels are going to be behind the kitchen unit, and I was thinking, do I carpet them separately and screw them on, or do I just screw them on first and then carpet over the whole thing? And because there's no real need for access to them, there's nothing underneath them, the wires are coming out in front in conduit, then the plan is to panel them first with some plywood, wooden paneling, and then carpet over the whole thing. A reason for this, if I were to just carpet these ribs, would lose this middle section of carpet. It would be quite a waste of the carpet. But if we can pull it down over the whole thing with these already boarded up, then I think that's going to be the best way to go. So I need to make some templates for these and then jigsaw them out of some of the plywood that actually came with the van. I can see if I can find some cardboard, start making that template, see how it goes. Now, the concept of the cardboard template is something new to me. I've not done one before, but the assumption is that you would figure out where you want the panel to go. Now, there's a rib here, there's a little ledge thing here, so I think I would take it up to there, sort of thing, and then we can maybe curve it round here, take it down here, down there. It's going to be bang up to this pillar on this side, so that's okay, and then we will just cut the length off. That's the plan. So we'll see if we can use this to do that. We'll just square this up first. I'll take this edge off. Just make sure there's enough overhang. There is enough overhang there. Right. So we'll take that corner. So we'll take that one out. Take that little detail out with the scissors. Check it over. There you go. Plenty, I think, to screw into there. Plenty there and plenty there. When I come to cut this, I think I'll just put another, take this up to the post here. So on that, this way, we're going to put another 1 centimetre. That should do it. Alrighty, moving right along. So I have this piece of plywood which was originally in the van. It's a bit grubby, but it'll be okay. It's getting carpeted over. I'll clean it up first, obviously. So I'm going to align that. I could align with that edge as well, couldn't I? I'm just going to cut down on the cutting, so to speak. Right, so that's all lined up there. Oops, nearly. We'll mark that top line. Mark the side line. And this line here, we're coming out just 1 centimetre more, so we'll just eyeball that. Right, so that's what cut. I'm going to get the jigsaw and cut that out. I've offered this up, and a little bit more off here, a little bit tight there, and just a slither off the top. So I'm going to take that back off with the jigsaw, and this I may be able to bandsaw off. That might be the best way to go with that one. Alright, so that took a couple of nibbles, but if I place it against that side, we're just under that lip there, that's good, and we're in this contour here. So I'm saying that's good. I've got some small self-tapping screws here which I'm going to fit this in with. I just need to get the drill and then we'll begin. It's a bit of an awkward shape this way, it's contoured this way also, so we're going to have to put a few screws in it just to get it to shape. But the ply itself, it looks like 6mm hardwood ply, so that should bend into shape fairly readily. We have this screwed in all the way around, so looking good and secure, and our next thing is to see if we can make this back panel here. And to some degree good fortune has smiled upon us. This is one of the original panels out of the van, and it's a pretty good fit around the wheel arch, and it's also been notched in here. A couple of discrepancies on it, but I'm sure we can sort that out. There's a little bit, you know, if I look at that, I'm saying if we took a little bit off the bottom there, that would fit down onto the wheel arch a little more snugly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If we take a piece off the bottom, it'll fit down onto the wheel arch, and that'll probably fit in there. And then this would just be a matter of a straight cut right the way across. Okay, that's what we're going to go for. Pretty good. I've taken the centimetre off the bottom of it. It's a nice snug fit on the wheel arch here. This has gone into place. I think there's just a little bit of shaping around here to do, and then we'll take it off at the same height as this one. Okay, and there it is. That's fitting in there very nicely, just under this line, same as the other one. It's fitting in this area well. The only thing it wants is a hole drilling in it to bring the wires out. The hole's going to be about here. I'll mark that, drill it, and then screw this panel in. Okay, so that's panel number 2 in. That was fortuitous, actually. Real bit of luck. But the wheel arch is good. It's all fitted in nicely. We've got the hole in for the wires. Now that whole panel, from this point, I'm absolutely sure the next thing to do with it is to carpet it. I want to get the carpet on before putting the ceiling in place. Otherwise it just means tucking it into the ceiling. So we'll get a nice line on that top, bring it right the way down here to the floor, cover the wheel arch, and then on this side, as I say, what all we're doing is these pillars, because these panels will be clad differently because they'll be on show. As I say, these here are behind the kitchen units and behind the cupboards, and they'll be totally okay carpeted over. Okay, that's it for this video. The Vapour barrier is in place, all looking good. We've got the panelling done. Now the next one for sure, we're going to be doing the stretch carpet, and then we'll prepare the panels which are on show. Can I just say, if you've liked the video, do consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Now I'm a few weeks ahead of myself with these videos. Obviously it takes a bit of editing, putting it all together, this type of thing, so I'm always a few weeks ahead of myself, which means that the van is coming along really nicely. Almost complete actually at this point. I'll put the rest of the step-by-step builds up, but if I manage to get it finished before I get all of those builds edited and up on YouTube, I'll also do a van tour, and I'll upload that so that you can see where the whole build is heading as it progresses. So as I say, if you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see the whole build unfold, do subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching.